Hey guys, it's me, Real American Politics, here with a quick disclaimer before this video starts. Reminder, this video is solely, or this prediction I should say, is solely based on the idea Trump wins a popular vote in 2024. Again, this video is in July of 2022, so things are obviously probably going to change, but this is based on the polling data we have so far, and well, it appears Trump's on his way to win the popular vote 2024. Things could change, 100%, but as of now, this prediction is solely based on the idea Trump does win the popular vote by a point or so. Alright, hope you guys enjoy this video. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics, back in with a new video, and today, it is time that we do the monthly presidential prediction thingy for the 2024 presidential election. Now, I know that traditionally we've been doing a little bit of different type of candidates, races, etc. I think it's starting to look more and more clear that it's going to be between Donald J. Trump and Joe Biden for the 2024 presidential election. Now, it's getting also clear that people like Gavin Newsom are going to try to primary Biden. You know, I may make more videos if Newsom actually, picks up steam. I think Biden still wins the primary. I think just Newsom is somehow a weaker candidate than Joe Biden is. I'll be making a whole video thing on the 2024 primaries. But as of now, I think this is getting quite clear. These two are the main candidates. And you also may notice I changed up some things for the map thing. One, I changed the color scheme a little bit, make it a bit easier, I guess, on the eyes, I guess. Also kind of, easier to tell what each candidate's at for the electoral votes, etc., etc. So if you guys like these changes, just let me know down below. And before I forget, of course, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and yes, of course, go follow that mysterious Twitter account in the description down below. And yeah. So 2024 is looking to be a fairly lopsided year for the presidential level. I mean, this may have sounded crazy 4 years ago, but I think Trump's on pace to win the popular vote. At this point, I think it's a matter of how much. And you want to see? Look at the hypothetical polling. Trump is currently leading Biden in the popular vote by 2. And I know this is early and things could change, but you go inside the crosstabs of a poll like Emerson. The only undecided voters are really left are pure independents. And you start doing some basic math. Trump is doing very good with independent voters. Surprisingly well. Very similar thing to these other pollsters, Harvard/Harris. It's going to be a matter of how much. At this point, I do think Trump is going to win the popular vote in 2024. Things could change, it absolutely could. But that's where things appear to be trending. I mean, most polls are showing it. Outside of freaking YouGov, which they actually showed a significantly closer race than they did in 2020, you start thinking and realizing Trump could seriously win the popular vote. Will it happen? We gotta see. But I do think I actually say he will win the popular vote. It's a matter of how much. And again, a Republican winning a popular vote, that is hard. I hope everybody understands how huge that is if Republicans could actually win the popular vote. So let's get into it, folks. This prediction is based on the fact that I do think Republicans or Trump will win the popular vote in 2024. By how much? We do gotta see. So I think for now, let's say Trump wins a popular vote by a point. I may have made this video in the past, but things are starting to look pretty bad. So let's start all the safe states, of course. Again, I changed the color scheme a little bit. Well, at this point, if Republicans win the popular vote, all of these states are non-competitive. And I would also include not Georgia. Not Georgia. Sorry about that, folks. I would also include Texas and Florida. In this situation, if Republicans do win the popular vote, that means the suburbs are just full-on revert. They full-on revert, trends are reversed, and at the same time, it appears the rurals continue to trend Republican. So with that in mind, a state like Texas, the biggest trends have been in the Dallas area. So if Republicans win the popular vote, most of their gains in Texas, I assume, would come from the Dallas and Houston areas, which, start doing some math, Republicans would win the state by at least 10 points. And these are first sure no matter what you do. Florida I have as safe Republican as well because it's Republican trending. And in a safe Republican, or a popular vote victory, I should say, it's a safe state. Also, Iowa and Ohio, that's not a big surprise. Or also Maine second. I think that's also a good decision there. Now, for the Democrats, this is where it gets pretty bad. If Republicans actually win the popular vote, this is kind of what I see it looking like. Maryland. I mean, Delaware, I think, would be within 10 points. That's bad. If Delaware's within 10 points, again, this is Biden's home state. This is a state that he did pretty good in 2020. If he's getting under 10, winning the state by less than 10 there, that's not good. And I do think that's what would happen if the popular vote goes the way of the Republicans. I mean, seriously, Biden won the state by 19. I don't think he would win it by more than 10. That's how bad it gets. I would also say New York because, well, it's New York. What do you expect about the state of New York? There's really nothing to say about the state. I mean, just looking at this, the Northeast gets so much more competitive. It's nuts. Also, Maine's first, I think, would be safe Democrat in the scenario. So would D.C. And, yeah. We're heading for a 2008 redux, I think, except for the Republicans. I mean, if this is the safe states for the Democrats, I can't imagine. So, you know what? Let's go coast to coast, because I don't want to spoil you guys what I think each state would do. So we're going from West Coast to East Coast, doing the same thing. Washington. I think Republicans still win that state by, or Democrats still win the state. They win it by under 10. Same deal with Oregon. I mean, if Republicans win the popular vote by 2 or 3, maybe. But as of now, I do think those two northwestern states, they, stay Democrat, but significantly closer. And I do think in a serious scenario, Republicans run a good candidate, they could flip the governorship in Washington. And I do think they also have a Senate race in 2024 in Washington. I think so. So, hey, that could work pretty good. I mean, Republicans, if they could win a governorship in Washington, hey, I mean, I'll take it. I would 100% take it. Nevada, I think, would not really be that close. I think it would be a likely Republican state. I mean, Nevada, outside of Florida, one of the more Republican trending states in the country, especially in the Sun Belt. And Republicans win the popular vote? Yeah, that state's not going to be close either. So does Arizona. I mean, Trump, quote-unquote, lost the state by under, like 10,000 votes. Yeah. If Biden struggled to win Arizona in 2020, in a red wave, essentially that's what it is in 2024, a red wave, yeah, that state's not, going Democrat, neither at the Senate level or the presidential level. I mean, Trump may get, win it by 8 or 9 points. That's how bad it looks for Biden in the Democrats in 2024. Colorado, I think, would be within 5 points. I think it'll be closer to how much Trump lost it by in 2016, by like 4 or 5 points. I think the trends in 2020, I think some of those swings are a bit of a one-off. But either way, it's still trending Democrat, and it's one of those things where it's a bit too Democrat for Republicans to win. Though I just do think some of those swings in 2020, it was inflated by COVID. That's my opinion what happened in Colorado, though it's gone long term. It's gone already. I mean, Republicans win the popular vote, can't win Colorado. But I do think Republicans would get a bit closer there. Maybe win, I don't know, win something there, I guess. But Colorado would be within 5. New Mexico. I know a lot of people will be pissed off by this. I think Republicans win it. I think they win it by under a point. It would be a very close state. Again, I have a weird feeling New Mexico is going to pull what happened in Rio Grande Valley in 2020 in Texas in New Mexico. I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to see a huge shift to the right for New Mexico, no matter what happens. And in a red wave like that, Republicans could win the state of New Mexico. I think it happens. Nebraska's second. I think Trump wins it by like under a point. It's Democrat trending, but it is a red wave here. And with suburban reversion, it could be even a lean margin. But as of now, I have it as tilt R. Minnesota. Minnesota, Minnesota, Minnesota. You know, this is the one state that burned me in my presidential predictions in 2020. That was my, outside of New Hampshire, that was my one big fat miss of the election. And Biden won it by 7. In a red wave, I truly do think what happened in Minnesota in 2020 was the riots completely destroyed Trump. I mean, he didn't, even the rural swung Democrat. There's really no parts of Minnesota that have really trended Republican. And I do think with that in mind, I think the riots has hurt his favorability there. Now, I think some voters are regretting that big time. And with what we saw in 2016, Trump lost the state by like 2 points, I think it was. You keep that in mind, I think he wins it by a similar margin as New Mexico. He wins it by under a point. It's a fairly close race, but becomes the first Republican since freaking Nixon to carry the state. That's kind of sad to think about. Minnesota's essentially what North Carolina is to the Democrats. I mean, we're going to win North Carolina, proceeds to lose it. It's like, we're going to win Minnesota, proceeds to lose it. So yeah, Minnesota, in my opinion, would be a tilt R state. Wisconsin, I don't think I gotta say much. Michigan, I think would be lean R. I think it would lean to the right. You know, Republicans win by 4, potentially 5 points. I think very similar to how Trump did in North Carolina in 2016, 4 or 5 point victory. Biden, I think, just had, you know, of all the Midwestern states, Michigan was probably his strongest state. I'm not counting Minnesota. I should say Rust Belt states. Of the Rust Belt states, Michigan is probably the more favorable part of this part of the country to Biden because of what he did for the union workers in 2009 with General Motors. Go look up that story. I think that's what happened. You saw a lot of these union workers in like Detroit that they got their jobs saved because, you know, they thank Biden, I guess, for it, which is wrong, but it is what it is, and I do think that that's when inflated the swings a little bit in Michigan. Again, with COVID, I mean, COVID really fucked up a lot of states for us, trends and stuff. But I do think Michigan, in my opinion, would go to Trump by 3, 4, potentially 5 points. Illinois. This is a state that, once again, Republicans have some years gotten closer. They've just not been able to get past Chicagoland. The only way Republicans could win Illinois is if they have to essentially get Bush margins in the collar counties. That's the only way you can realistically win Illinois. And I just don't see them doing it. I think it's closer than usual. I think it's going to be a 6, 7 point victory for Biden. The problem is for Trump is Chicagoland. You need to be in a midterm to win Illinois. That's how screwed that state is. But again, it potentially could go red at, you know, the governorship level. Presidential level, I just don't see it. Maybe in the long-term future, could. But as of now, I have it as lean or likely Democrat. Pennsylvania, very similar to Wisconsin. I don't think I gotta say much. Georgia, I don't think I gotta say much. 4 or 5 point victory for Trump. I think very similar to what happened in 2016. Very similar margins statewide. I think he, you know, does better there, though the outlook for Georgia doesn't look that good. We just got to see what happens, though. I do think 2022 is going to be a good indicator to see where Georgia's heading, all right? If Brian Kemp ends up winning by 10 or something crazy like that, Walker wins by a similar margin, there's hope. But will that happen? Who knows? North Carolina, likely Republican. I don't got to say much. That's the one state that Democrats spend all that money on, yet they can never get over the hump. Delaware, you know, Biden only wins that state because, you know, he's from the state. I mean, remember, Trump did fairly good in Delaware in 2016. I think he only lost it by like 11 points or something like that, which that's pretty good considering it's Delaware. And he did lose the state by 12, I think it was, actually. But Biden being from Delaware gives him a huge advantage. And I do think Trump would get within 10 points. And it's one of those states, though, in the future that I do think Republicans do have an opportunity at. I mean, Clinton only got 53% of the vote here in 2016. And there were signs the state was trending Republican before Joe Biden. So if this was like a Bernie Sanders, Trump could potentially win it. Will he in 2024? Not with Biden on the ballot. Virginia, I forgot to do this state. Oh, you gotta be kidding me with this. You know, Virginia's one of those states that it's gonna be such a hard state to predict, I think, for 2020. The thing is this, Trump will always get the phenomenal rural margins. What kills him is the suburban margins. But here's the interesting thing. In some polling I've heard or seen, it appears Trump's favorability in a state like Virginia has been getting better, while Biden's not so much. And you look at the state, Clinton got 49% of the vote here, and sure, Trump got 44%. But it looks like the state, is starting to turn a corner a little bit. I mean, the GOP has finally got their heads out of their ass. They're running good candidates. It just, as of now, I think it tilts towards Biden. I think it goes under a point for him. It's just the way to win Virginia now, Trump needs to have phenomenal numbers in the Virginia Beach area. That's his path. He can't do it via Nova because there's just not enough voters for him to get up there. I mean, sure, there's a lot of voters, but how many voters are there for him to get? I don't think there's enough. So I do think his path has to be Virginia Beach. That's his only way he could win Virginia. I think it'll be closer than usual. Probably the closest Republicans have won the state since 2004, but I don't think they will. At least not yet. We just got to see what happens. New Jersey. This is one of those states, though, I do think will have a surprising trend to the right. New Jersey, again, kind of similar to Delaware. Before 2020, it was trending to the right. Even in 2020, it trended to the right a little bit. And we saw what happened with the governorship election. I know that it's a governor election. I know that's different. But still, New Jersey appears to be finally starting to get a bit more Republican. And plus, Biden's favorability and popularity in the state of New Jersey is not good. I mean, of all the northeastern states, I think this is the worst one outside of Pennsylvania, obviously. I think it's at best like 45% or something crazy like that. Trump's is at like 45% in New Jersey as well. You start doing some math, it's like, okay, what? Now again, Republicans won't win it, but it'll be closer than usual. Similar things in Connecticut and Rhode Island. I think both those states go likely closer than usual, but Republicans still just barely, I should say barely, they just can't get over the hump in those states. Though I do think with Rhode Island, I think it should start trending Republican. The Rhode Island as a whole, again, go look up the Democrat Party of Rhode Island. They have an incredibly cursed platform where they're like, most of them are conservative and crap. It's like, what? It's a very weird state politically, but I do think it'll be within 10 points. Could Trump win it? Maybe. New Hampshire, I don't think I gotta say much. I think it's a lean. I think Trump wins it by 4 or 5 points. Maine at large, I think Trump wins it by 2 or 3. Maine before 2020, again, like most of these other states, was trending significantly Republican. What happened in 2020? I don't know. But there is definitely room for Republicans to grow in the state. I mean, Trump only lost the state by 3 in 2016. If he wins the popular vote, I don't see why he couldn't do it. And this, folks, is my current 2024 prediction. As you can see, it is not looking good for Democrats at all. And this is assuming Republicans win the popular vote by 1. People like People's Pundit, the best pollster in the country, has Trump winning it by upwards of 4 or 5. Look, if he wins it by 4 or 5, all the non-safe Democrat states, they're going red. Let's be clear here. It's going to be the closest thing to a 1984 we will probably ever see again. Trump would get above 400 electoral votes if he actually wins a popular vote by like 3-4%. If he wins it by 8, I don't know what to say. But anyways, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and yes, of course, go follow that mysterious Twitter account in the description down below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.